Okay. I'll do a prayer and then we'll start. Sadashivasamārambhāṃ Shankarācārya-madhyamāṃ Asmadācārya-paryantām Vande Guru-paraṁparāम्. Shruti-smriti-purāṇānaṁ Ālayam Karuṇālayam Namāmi Bhagavad-pāda Shankaram Lokashankaram Samasta-jana kalyāne Niratam Karuṇāmayam Namāmi Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma-vidvaram Mūkam karoti vācālam Panghum langhayate girim Yatkrupatamaham vande Paramanandamadhavam Paramanandamadhavam. Okay. So today we will be starting this wonderful Upanishad called Prashnopanishad. Yeah. Prashnopanishad, before we go into Prashnopanishad, normally Shankaracharya always he used to say there are three pillars against which any other knowledge, if it comes through anybody, doesn't matter himself, should be compared against. Means you cannot change those pillars. They are the things that they are the foundation that cannot be changed. Interpretation still can be changed. The idea is interpretation can still be changed because we see, depending upon the particular philosophy a guru follows, there can be variations in terms of what is brought out of the verse that is told. Yeah? That can be there. But Shankaracharya, as per Advaita Vedanta, he follows whatever Advaita Vedanta says is the correct translation or the way it should be interpreted. Yeah, these. And those three are, one is Upanishads. In Upanishads, there are many Upanishads from different Vedas. Yeah, Veda is one, but Vedavyasji has divided those one Veda into four for our easy understanding and grasping. Otherwise, Veda is one. It used to be a continuous Veda. Whatever has come, Rishis have received, it used to be a continuous Veda. But
is it read in a particular order? Or
no. They were all together at once upon a time.
Okay.
But what Vedavyasji did is to collate. He went to different parts of the country, because that is how we know, because Vedavyas is there in Vyasa Guha is there near in Himalayas, and Vedavyasji's way that he stayed here, it is there in Andhra Pradesh, it is there in Tamil Nadu. Everywhere his this one is there. People's memory is there that he came and stayed there. So what he did, he went throughout the India, collected complete Veda wherever it came through, and he first time they say he put it on paper. Yeah, and he split that into four different Vedas. Yeah, we all know what four Vedas are.
Yeah,
Rig Veda, Rug Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, and Atharvana Veda. So sometimes we may think that it is split into four, but for example, in Rig Veda, if we take, the same mantras are there in Sama Veda also. But the way they are chanted is different. Rig Veda is more like a prose. It is just a reading which happens when Rig Veda is chanted. It is a prose. Whereas the same mantra in Samaveda, it is in the form of a song. Samaveda is always in a song form. So some people interpret that in that they say that Rigveda is when a student is learning, and that when learning is imbibed into this, automatically it comes out as a song. Way of putting, people say that when you cannot sing, you will read like this, but then once you are very, very comfortable with the meaning, with the words, it comes out as a song. One way of interpretation. But anyway, these are four different Vedas that were there. But actually Atharvana Veda, which we are talking about, is a later edition. initially what they said, Vedam Trayimayam. In fact, many of the Upanishads themselves say Veda is threefold, not a fourfold one. But the Atharvana Veda got added very much later. How do we know? Because the language used in Atharvana Veda is slightly different from the language used in the previous Vedas. That's how we know Rig Veda is the original text. Because the language that is used, the words they are used, the type of language that is used in that is the oldest Sanskrit as per our experts in terms of language. So Rig Veda is the first text that is still surviving. Ancient text, they say, is still surviving. So Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda and Atharvana. These are the
it's still part of the Vedas.
It's
written in the Vedas, except that it's chanted differently.
No.
Or it's sung differently.
No, that is Sama Veda.
Samveda
is sung. Atharvana Veda is not sung, but what they say is Atharvana Veda got added itself quite some time later. We don't know because everything is, we don't have any dates for them. Yeah. But in terms of this one, they say Atharvana Veda got added maybe 200, 300 years later, the other Vedas have come into picture. Yeah. So that is how they interpret. The masters who interpret, they say that it appears to be with the language that we see, appears to be done quite later. So initial Vedas always talked about Trayimayam, but the fourth one got added later. But 4 Vedas are there, let us say. And each of these Vedas, there are what we call as Upanishads. Upanishad, we will come to that. Ramakrishnaji, if we have all heard is this one where he wonderfully described what Upanishad is. Upanishad, near, below, sit. So the idea is that a student sits below, means he is in a flow that the knowledge flows from Guru to the student and learns this particular knowledge that comes through the Guru. So more importantly, what they say is this should be learned through a Guru. And for us, the Guru is Chinmayananji. Fortunately, in this world, we have books coming up. So we can still gain something from the Guru, but through somebody else who have heard again from some of the Guru. So that's why we always start any Upanishad class with Sadashiva Samarambham. Sadashiva Samarambham, Shankaracharya Madhyamam, means it actually, this knowledge came from Sadasiva first. Shiva is the one who actually gave the first Vedas. The knowledge came from him. Shankaracharya Madhyamam. In between, Shankaracharya came and he also gave the same knowledge, but without any distortions that might happen in between. Asmadacharya Paryantam.
I didn't realize that was actually the history.
Asmadacharya Paryantam means my own Guru is the one whom he learned from this particular parampara, and I am being given to us now.
That's amazing.
Vande Guru Paramparam. That's why it's a Guru Parampara. Always this knowledge comes through Guru Parampara, and we remember all those great Gurus who made it possible for this knowledge to survive for such a long time.
So when you say it came from Shiva, is it when the yogis meditated, it was revealed to them?
Revealed to him. So we believe that it is Shiva who revealed the Vedas knowledge. But it's only question of whom you are following.
Yeah.
Shankara is a believer in Shiva, so it must have come there. But some people say it is Brahma, Chaturmukha Brahma who has given this Veda knowledge.
If you say Shiva, it represents.
So they are one and the same. Yeah. Shiva representative of that particular Paramatma who actually. So idea is that this knowledge came directly from the Ishwar. It has not come from any Guru, but Ishvara is the original source of the Vedas. And
through deep meditation, it was revealed to them.
Yeah. So, as I was telling, the Prasthanatrayi. One is the Upanishad knowledge. So, whatever Upanishads, they are one of the pillars. You cannot change Upanishad to suit your, if you are coming out with a new philosophy. Hinduism allows for that. Hinduism allows for new interpretations to come, but you should always go back to the original. You cannot change the original to say that it does not match with one of the lines, so I will take out the line and put something else to my requirement. Not allowed. They will remain standard. Yeah? That is one Upanishad. Second is, there is something called Brahma Sutra. Brahma Sutras, they are the very cryptic phrases that are given in Brahma Sutras. What Brahma Sutras does, Badarayana Maharshi is supposed to be the originator, but again Veda Vyasa is the same Badarayana, some people say. So this Brahma Sutras are also written by Veda Vyasa only. What he did, because it is so difficult for people to interpret this Upanishad knowledge, the Vakya, because it's very, very cryptic. In fact, whatever is given there also is very cryptic, but the same word is used in different context. Atma, people may say. Atma can be Dehatma, it can be at a mind level, it is Atma, intellect is Atma, individual is Atma, and Paramatma. Atma can mean anything. So how do you interpret if the Atma word comes in, say, Taittiriya Upanishad, one phase where there is a Atma is there. And if somebody is giving a interpretation which is not normal, but it is something, buddhi, somebody for example, in Bhagavad Gita also, the word buddhi comes, some people then interpret it as karma yoga. How buddhi yoga can be karma yoga? But so there is a interpretation that is given as to why in this context this word should mean only karma yoga, not in terms of jnana yoga. So there is a huge interpretational science that is there behind, which is there still available, but unfortunately we can't go through such a length of this one. So we accept that it is there in that when a guru says that. So this what this Brahma Sutras does is it gives it refers to 10 different major Upanishads we call, and it actually tells you as to how to interpret that word and why it should not be interpreted in a different one. But that itself is so cryptic that ShankarJi has written a whole bhashyam on Brahma Sutra. So it refers to why that particular word is used, what is the exact meaning of that. That is supposed to be one of the best books of Adi Shankaracharya. The Brahma Sutra interpretation is kind of a standard which nobody will ever touch. That is how wonderful that is, they say. But anyway, that is the second pillar. And the third pillar is Bhagavad Gita, where again Shankaracharya has given a commentary on Bhagavad Gita, each verse as to what it means, each word means. That's why he is very, very considered a Shiva avatar directly. Yeah?
So when you say, like, for example, you just give example as buddhi, but buddhi, depending on the context, it means different.
Correct.
Yes. Okay.
The context that is there, it means a different connotation than what we normally think. Right. It is different than that. That's how they interpret that particular this one. Yeah. So anyway, these three are supposed to be the pillars or standards against which everything should be compared to. You cannot have anybody overcoming this particular three aspects which are there. Yeah. Now, on the Veda itself, we normally have something called, you will come across as major Upanishads and minor Upanishads. After so many years of this one, they finally collated in 19th century or 18th century sometime. They have collated around 103 Upanishads which existed, which survived the onslaught of Muslims, Christians, etc. who came into India. Doesn't matter, but it survived is 103 Upanishads, they survived. Out of that, 10 or 11 are considered major Upanishads. Balance all, they call it minor Upanishads. Not minor in terms of the content. Content always is Brahma Jiva Aikyam. Any Upanishad you take, we say that it is the Brahma Jiva Aikyam. The oneness of Brahman and Jiva. Brahmatma, Paramatma and Jivatma, they are one and the same, is the core message of any Upanishad you take. Or Bhagavad Gita you take. Any of these texts will give you only that message. But These 10 have got a explanation given by people like Shankaracharya, Madhavacharya, Ramanujacharya. They have all commented on these 10 Upanishads. And hence, that 10 or 11 which are there, they are considered major because we understand them better. Because of the master's commentary that is available, we understand them better, so they become major. Others become minor from that perspective. That's how they say that. Yeah. So this major, minor we have seen now. The other one is every Upanishad is then divided into a karma kanda, and karma is again divided into karma and upasana. And there is another called aranya kanda. Normally, every Veda will have 3 portions of it. If you split the mantras, it will have 3 portions of that. The karma kanda is the one where different yajnas, yagas, how a person must lead one's life. So when we talk about that it is enjoined by the Shastras or the Vedas, it means they have, in karma kanda portions, they told you how you must lead your life. What is dharma? At what place, in different ashramas that you have, that means in different stages of student stage, youth stage or grihastha stage, vanaprastha, sannyasa, different stages, different dharmas are defined in these Vedas, how you must lead your life. That becomes the karma kanda, which includes actually a lot of this ones as to how a particular yaga or yajna should be conducted. Very, very detailed information is given. How the yajna vedi must be laid, what direction it should be there, how you must understand where the east is. It goes into so much of details, a Veda, one portion of it. So there, all of karma kanda whoever follow, they follow that particular this one. There is something called upasana. Upasana is more in terms of meditation, let us say, as to how you must withdraw from karma into yourself. That is upasana kanda. Veda has got that portion also. And there is another last portion which is called as aranya kanda. This aranya kanda, what happens is, you have something called, it gives you jnana. So Upanishads form normally part of this aranya kanda. Aranya is what? A ranya. Rana means actually war is rana. Why war is rana? Because there is a lot of sound there in that rana. So rana is sound. Aranya, where there is no sound. Now the maximum sound is when you sit alone. In a deep room, there is nobody around, nothing around. If you sit there, maximum sound is there in your head. That's the reason we find it very difficult to go into any meditation, because this rana is there in your own mind. Aranya is where there is no sound. Means if you are able to control the sound around you, inside you, you enter aranya. That is, the forest is the one which is given, but forest is supposed to be where there are limited sounds. So it is known as aranya, forest. But aranya means no sound. So Upanishads, when they form, they are the Vedanta, end of Vedas. Normally aranya comes at the last of the Vedas, last portion. So in one way, the Vedanta means the end of the Vedas. Towards the end of the Vedas, this knowledge is revealed to the seekers. That is one way of putting that. But another way of putting is, the knowledge is the last. You cannot have anything other than this knowledge. Highest knowledge that is there is given in this Upanishads. That also is Vedanta. So, and essentially, jnana, the knowledge that comes to you, is through this last Upanishad portions or aranya portions which is there. Yeah. And normally Jnanakanda has got 2 portions, they say. One is the text itself. So one must be able to interpret the text, understand the text, the meaning of them, etc. Second is to gain that knowledge as your own. Right now, the knowledge when somebody else is speaking is the knowledge of that person, not me. I am hearing, I am trying to imbibe. When that knowledge becomes wisdom, that becomes your own knowledge, your own jnana. So jnana marga when we talk about, because normally we all think by attending Upanishad class, we are going through a Jnana Marga. We are not Karma Margis anymore. We are advanced student, which we are. I am not denying that. But this advanced students also, which is there, is more in terms of that I am leaving karma, I am coming to Jnana. Means what? I have already completed. All my Karma Marga I have completed. And now my Rana is over in my mind. And now I am going to learn the knowledge from the Upanishads. That's what is the normal thinking that we have with this Jnana Marga. Question is, why Karma Marga is not good? Because in Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna asks question, you are putting Karma Marga, Jnana Marga, everything you are telling, but tell me, which is the good for us? Whether it is Karma which is better or Jnana is better, because on one section you are telling Karma Marga is the best and other telling you Jnana Marga is best. Which is the one? Immediately Krishna says, Karma Marga is the best. He doesn't even qualify that statement. He says, Karma Marga is the best. Why? Then what Guruji tells is, that is for Arjuna. A student, when he asks questions, he or she when asks questions, the answer is given to that particular person. For Arjuna, it is Karma Marga because he has not yet crossed that Karma Marga. He has not yet over, so for him, Karma Marga is the best. And immediately in 2 verses down, he says Jnana Marga is the best. So very confusing for people who are reading only the word meaning from book. Very, very confusing as to why Krishna is moving from here to there. And Arjuna also gets confused. That's why so many questions come from him. Because at least he is listening. Like us, he is listening, so questions come for them, particularly this one.
Is that why I'm confused?
Yeah, of course we are all confused.
No, with my question that I had the other day.
In a way, yes. In a way, yes. Maybe it is still yet to reach that stage where that clarity should imbibe. It becomes your own wisdom. Then it may come through. But some people may not even have questions. So don't feel bad that you have a question. Question is always the first step towards gaining knowledge. Many people don't even question. People like me don't even question. So we accept whatever is being coming.
No,
so it's okay.
When it doesn't, like I accept all the time, and I hardly have questions. But when something like that comes, because you understand one thing and then this is saying something else, in my mind, it's something else. So
that is the reason why I told. Every word has got a way of interpretation, and there is a huge debate that is given in a debate form. It is given as to why that word should mean this. So, if a question comes, you have 2 choices. One is, try to get that particular book wherever that interpretation is given as to why it is so. And you must have enough knowledge to interpret so many Vedas, so many Upanishads, and try to come out as to why that word is meaning this. If we are not able to do that, then next best option is Shraddha. Means faith. Faith that this particular person is coming, that interpretation is coming from a guru, and I accept that as a this one. But at the same time, we need not completely avoid the question telling that Shraddha. Shraddha in Hinduism always means that it should not be at a conflict with my own logic. Logic should be satisfied when a sentence or a word is coming from a guru. It should not be against my own logic. I may question my logic. With Shraddha, I will question my logic. Means whatever I am thinking, logical, may not be the correct logic I am applying. Yeah, that change is what we must be looking at. But don't leave it unless you are fully satisfied. Yeah, please go ahead.
Because logic is because we are thinking as logic. It depends how we look at logic. But to me, logic is when you're thinking at a human level.
Correct.
Unless you think beyond that, that would be a different kind of logic when you ask a question.
Well, we are human.
Logic here is applied to human being. Applied to human being, I agree. But a logic of a 3-year child may not be same as a 16-year-old.
But again, it's the logic of a 3-year-old and you also. Your logic is how you've grown up and how you've accepted or not accepted things as you go along. Yeah?
Correct. Agree with you. But then we must go and see as to where I will learn logic. There are schools available for Nyaya philosophy. Even in philosophy, you have a Nyaya philosophy which actually tells you as to how a interpretation must be done. not in terms of a word or this one. As to what is Pratyaksha Pramana, what is Anumana Pramana, there are 6 types of Pramanas that are available. Maybe I am using a wrong Pramana for this. If somebody says, seeing is believing, which is what Charvaka says, seeing is believing. If I don't see, it is not there for me. Then if somebody says that, but do you have a heart or no? Yeah, of course I have a heart, otherwise how am I alive? But are you seeing it? How you are believing that it is there? So one option is, yeah, I may still stick to that by going into a dissection where a dead body is being cut. I will cut open and see whether this is there or not, a really heart is there or not. We can do that. That becomes a Pratyaksha Pramana. But till that happens, not many of us go through that. For us, it is inference only. What somebody else has seen, a doctor who has cut has told me, no, I have seen that when you cut, there is a heart inside. But for a person who is telling that Pratyaksha Pramana is the only seeing is believing, he is not following this one. Yeah? Till he doesn't see, he should say there is no heart. Similarly, we are telling that God is there. A person who is going into Samadhi, if you believe that he is a credible source, then that becomes a Pramana by itself.
Yeah.
Now, what logic are you using? What type? So there are ways of learning. The correct usage of correct knowledge also is there. So Shabda Pramana. So that also is, for us, Shabda Pramana becomes a huge portion, because many of the students who are learning have not experienced the Brahman. But there are people who are Brahmanishta who went into that stage of Samadhi, found out and came back and told, this is how it looks, this is how it feels. Now it is Shraddha. But what is being told by every guru, don't stop at Shraddha, you have to experience yourself. And they have given certain ways and means of achieving that. Yeah? Now question is, why Karmakanda is not considered ultimate in our Advaita Vedanta? Because karma is accepted as most Karma Yoga. It talks about in Bhagavad Gita, so Karma Yoga should be good enough for everybody. So what Gurudev says is, Karma Yoga, karma itself can be divided into 3. Yeah? One is Kayikam. Kayikam means one that is done with the physical body. We do karma. There is something called Vachikam. Karma can be words also. What you speak is Vachikam. That is also karma. So japa you do, for example, is a Vachikam. Even in sadhana, Kayikam is puja, that you are doing physically. You put a idol, you put flowers, you put all that, becomes Kayikam. Whereas a Vachikam is when you do it with your speech. So that also is action, because karma, as far as tongue is concerned, it's a organ of action also for you, really speak. Vachikam karma. Other one is Manasam. You do karma with your mind also. When you think about some things that you are doing, etc., you may not physically do anything, but even thinking about in a certain yugas, they say, is a papa. Suppose you don't kill anybody, but you in your mind you are so much agitated about somebody, you think every day you plan to kill that fellow. If that happens, in mind you are killing. That becomes a papa in Satya Yuga, not fortunately in Kali Yuga, but in Satya Yuga that also is considered as a papa. But anyway, what they are saying is Kayikam, Vachikam, Manasam. All 3 ways you can actually do action, and all these karmas that you are doing can have a result in terms of 4 Purusharthas. We have split that anything that comes against the Purusharthas, there can be 4 aspects of results that are coming to you. Means what? Artha, Kama,
Krodha.
no. Artha, Karma, Dharma,
Krodha?
No. The 4 ways of Purusharthas which are there.
Oh.
Kama, Artha, Dharma, Moksha. Karma, Dharma, Moksha. There are 4 ways it can come through. Your action can result in either Artha means it is a security. In terms of what we understand is money. Money is what we normally think, but the Artha is the security associated with your body, is Artha. Do you heard about this Purusharthas? No?
No, that's
There are
why-
4.
Yeah, that's why they have them in
Oh,
order.
we've heard of the 4, the name,
That are the 6 negativities of a mind. That is different. Yeah.
This is different. I can't remember hearing this explanation. So it's very.
Okay. Anyway, there are 4 Purusharthas they talk about as to you can have goals in your life. And these goals always split into either of these 4, they say. Means one is that you desire to have and you follow a desire.
Okay.
You can have a result coming out of that. The other can be artha. That means I have money goals, monetary goals. But normally, previously there used to be not money, but it is security.
They
So
divide the pal into 4.
correct. Phal can be divided into these 4. That means what say this artha is security, means house you want to have. Why? Because I want to be secure.
The result from the action.
The results coming is security is of the, so it can be a house, it can be many things associated with physically protecting yourself. So there are goals associated with every one of us to protect yourself and your family. And third one is dharma. Dharma is more in terms of you can have a goal to say that when I die, I must have a good life in the next janma. Because I am not really thinking that I will have moksha. So as a response, I will say I will give dana, I will do some good works, I will go and do service here. There can be many associated things that you can do, becomes a dharma. But last one is moksha. Moksha is a goal by itself in Vedanta. But any of these first 3, if your goal is either a kama, artha, dharma, if these 3 are there associated with that, let us say, the phala what comes, normally our goals are only limited to this. Nobody attempts to moksha immediately.
The fruit that comes.
The fruit that comes is not really available for immediate response. So when we talk about a finite result, action is always finite, result will always be finite. Means what? I may take up a goal, but limiting myself, it is limited by the mind I have, the thinking I have, the background I have. I may be thinking I will invest 10,000 in my share market, tomorrow I will have 100,000, but even 10,000 is gone. Because why? Others may be getting, because I am seeing somebody else gaining and I am trying to do, but I don't have the background, I don't have the knowledge, I only lose my 10,000. The other fellow is getting that 100,000 for me only. Really speaking, people like me is gaining, but I don't have that. Because my knowledge is limited, my background is limited, my phala is always limited. So if I follow only karma, always the result that I get is always limited. Now, when in terms of jnana kanda, what we are trying to put there is, it is freedom from action. The jnana kanda, what it teaches is it is freedom from action is the goal by itself. That becomes jnana kanda. Yeah. So that freedom from action is what moksha is. Now, when we talk about in these big terms, it becomes difficult for us to understand freedom from action means what. How can somebody freedom from action? It is similar to freedom from desire. It is not telling that you don't do action, you don't have desire. That is not real meaning of that. When you say freedom from desire, freedom from action, you are not bound by the results that come from this. You are not bound by a result that comes of an action taken out of desire. Or the action itself, if I am taking, I am not bound by it. Means what? If I get something, I accept as a prasada. Whatever result comes, I accept as a prasada that is coming from the Lord. And if I am able to do that, and same result may come, but I am not bound by it, means I will not again and again do the same action to get the same result for my pleasure. I am not bound by that. Today it is there, happy. Tomorrow it is not there, happy. If you are able to do that, that becomes freedom from the action. So Jnana Marga teaches you how to deal with the results. in a way. And how do I do that? Another word they put is world is anatma, means what? It is elusive by nature. Really, it doesn't have a reality of its own. So if I have that knowledge with which I am doing action in the world, then whatever result comes, it doesn't impact me because I am not even considering that a reality. That way, I will avoid the action. So when we say that freedom from action, it is actually freedom from the results of the action that you are getting. Once you are in that level, doesn't matter whether you have 100 desires or 1,000 desires or 1,000,000 desires, or you are taking action every day, every second, every minute, doesn't matter. I am free from all that desire. I am free from all that action. That is the Jnana Marga that we are talking about. Yeah.
What I can't understand is when they say this world is an illusion. Whatever you see is an illusion, really.
Yeah, I think what happens where we're at, and then we hear all these higher things, it just confuses us.
Yes, that's right.
You know, like you have to remember, having knowledge to remember where we're at and what we can deal with. Eventually, like somebody who's reaching that stage will see what they're saying, but where we're at, we
So we have to live.
We have to go more on faith, I think, because we always overestimate our capability. We think we understand, but we have no clue.
Yes, of course.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, I was just talking with a friend of mine. He was saying that he was arguing that we're doing, because he's really into self development, and then he's saying he falls into the trap of learning. I said, why is learning a trap? Because he said, because sometimes you are focusing on pleasure to forget about that you need to do self-development. And the trap in learning is you think you are learning the things that you're supposed to learn, but you are not. And so I just sent him the first page of chapter 3. It's talking about not by refraining from action does man attain freedom from action. Not by mere renunciation does he attain supreme perfection. So it's not that you have to not act. But I kind of think with his, he's always saying self-development. So he has a result he's expecting, right?
Correct.
But then if he's focusing on that result, he's not enjoying the process. And
Yeah, very true, because it's past or future always. You're never in the present.
yeah.
It is like an addiction as well. Why? Because I'll tell you, there are some few people who are addicted to learning. In the sense that it is not that they are choosing one subject and trying to learn, but the overall development. And you keep on doing one course after the other, this one after the other. You keep on learning. But how are you utilizing what you are learning, either for the good of yourself or good of the others? If that is not going through, if learning by itself becomes a goal, then it's a problem by itself. However, if you are implementing that whatever you are learning in terms of your progress and the progress of others and the society, that is really helpful.
Because then it becomes wisdom by action.
By action, yeah. So action, you cannot leave it just like that.
No, ShankarJi, today's was wonderful. I've
Yes.
never heard it.
No, not yet
explained.
over. Not yet over. We will do this one. Last one in this introductory, what we are looking at is, as I mentioned, the Vedas have got different portions. Yeah. Normally we say that Vedanta comes at the end of the Vedas. End of the Vedas, Aranyakanda. But there are many Upanishads in other portions also. It is not as if every Upanishad comes only in Aranyaka portion of the Vedas. Some come as Mantropanishads, means only in the initial portions where the world is described, Indra, Chandra are all eulogized, etc. That portion also, there are some Upanishads inbuilt in that portion of it. Other one, it is called Brahmana portion, means where there is a ritualistic this ones that are laid out. That portion also have got certain Upanishads that are built into it. Now, mantra portion can come in Aranyakas as well, because mantra means it is a small capsule words that are used, not a elaborate explanation of things. So, a mantra Upanishad, so these Upanishads are now split as Mantra Upanishad and Brahmana Upanishad. There are two varieties of Upanishads. Why it is important is Mantra Upanishad requires much more elaboration by masters to understand what is being told. The Brahmana Upanishad which is there is supposed to be an explanation in a much detailed way. So in terms of these Upanishads classification, a Mantra Upanishad is supposed to be a higher quality compared to a Brahmana Upanishad.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because Brahmana is normally an explanation of mantra. Some Mantra Upanishad is there. For example, Mundaka Upanishad in Atharvana Veda is a Mantra Upanishad. Mundaka Upanishad. Whereas, why I am bringing that is, this Prashnopanishad is supposed to be a Brahmana Upanishad. Means it is a lower level of Upanishad within these two. And this Prashnopanishad is supposed to be an explanation by some masters of Mundaka Upanishad. But if I read Mundaka Upanishad and Prashnopanishad, no way I can relate them together. I have read both of them. I don't think I can really link one to one. But once you go into details, you will see that Prashnopanishad is a easier Upanishad to understand, because it goes by step in terms of, and it details much more than a Mantra Upanishad. If Mantra Upanishad says that this is what Brahman is, this is what world is, this is what Ishvara is, this is what Jiva is, very cryptic. But Brahman Upanishad will explain as to why this is the Jiva is being told is this, why this one, gives examples. So much more easy to follow is a Brahmana Upanishad. That's why we are going through Prashnopanishad first, so that it is much easier for people like us in terms of understanding this, so that when we go through, it's much easier for us to understand that. Yeah?
And we hope.
It is. Yeah, it is. Let us agree that it is. Yeah. Okay. Peace invocation. Do you have a peace invocation there? Vajram karnebhi shruniyama devaha. First verse, it's not first verse, but something called a Shanti Patha. Every Upanishad will have this Shanti Patha. And because this Shanti Patha is there, actually it also defines which Veda it is coming from. That means to say, if for example Yajurveda is there, all Yajurveda Upanishads will have the same Shanti Patha. Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shruniyama Devaha. Is there?
It's I don't see it.
Yeah.
Should be there.
Unless
Page
it's there.
20 in this one, new book.
Here.
Oh, so
That is all introduction that is given
okay,
here.
okay.
Yeah. So next class onwards, we will read this as our opening. Yeah. Because when we say that normal opening that we give, that also is a peace invocation from some other Upanishad, really speaking.
Yeah, they've always used to chant this.
Yeah.
Correct. We chant that, but without knowing that this is from Atharvana Veda.
That's true.
So Atharvana Veda, there are major Upanishads which are there in Atharvana Veda are Prashnopanishad, Mundaka Upanishad and Mandukya Upanishad. In fact, Mandukya is a class by itself, because Shankaracharya's Paramaguru has written a commentary on that. On Mandukya Upanishad. That commentary is also part of the Upanishad. It is read as Upanishad because the level at which that is there. Actual Mandukya Upanishad is only 12 verses. It's a Mantra Upanishad, it's only 12 verses. But along with the introduction or the explanation of that Mandukya Upanishad, it's a huge one. 7 sections is there in that, if I remember. And anyway, I will not go in. That is the Mandukya Upanishad. If I get carried away, I get emotional on that actually. It's a wonderful exposition. But anyway, we will read this. You all know this?
Yeah.
We
No? We will read that. We will anyway.
Yes, yeah.
Lataji, if you know that, why don't you start?
Bhadram
Om starts with Om.
Om
Bhadram karnebhi shriyama devaha.
Stop, please. Let us repeat that. Om Bhadram Karnebihi Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashye Makshabhiryajatraha
Sthirairangai sushubham sastanubhi yashema devahitam yadayu.
Let me read this. Sthirairangaihi Tushtuvagam Swastanubihi.
Sthirairangai
Is there a good there after va?
Gam, yeah, Vagam.
Vagam. Yeah, see, we never used to say gum.
It's a half ga, but Vagam.
Yeah.
Swastanubihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravah Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedah Swasti na Starsho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspati Dhadatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay. So the meaning of this is Om Bhadram Karnebihi Shrunuyama Devaha. First sentence which is there. Yeah. Bhadram means what is auspicious. Bhadram in some of the colloquial language, Indian languages can be careful. In South India, Bhadram means be careful. But actually, be careful means in terms of what is auspicious. If it is not coming, be careful of that. But here, the Sanskrit meaning is Bhadram means what is auspicious. Bhadram Karnebihi. Karna is the ear which is there. Yeah. So Karnebihi Shrunuyama Deva means let the students and the guru both are chanting this. Any peace invocation, it is chanted together to say that whatever auspicious, O God, let us hear only auspiciousness through our ears. Let not something inauspicious enter. As long as the class is going on, I hear only auspiciousness in my ears. They are praying for that to happen. Yeah? Shrunuyama Devaha. Bhadram Pashyet. Pashya means seeing. Pashyat means seeing. Bhadram Pashye Akshabihi. So let my eyes see only that is which is auspicious. Let me not see something which is inauspicious as long as my learning is going on. Pashyam Akshabihi. Yajatraha. Yajatraha means worshipped. Again, it is the god that they are referring to. Stirai Angaihi. We normally put together as Stirai Rangaihi. That's what we say. Actually, Stira Anga means let Stira Anga. Anga means body, limbs. My limbs, let them be Stira. Stable body parts let me have. Means let me be hale and hearty. Basically, that's what it is being told. Yeah.
Be steady. Yeah.
Angaihi. Steady. Steady means hale and hearty, really speaking. Yeah. Tushtuvagam swastanubihi. So why I want a strong this ones and we hear all this to pray to you correctly. It is not just because I want to become Salman Khan, I want a good this one, but it is for me to offering praises unto you. Let me have all this. Usastanopi. Vyashena devahitam yadayuhu. May we have, for the benefit of devas, whatever my entire span of life that I have, let me be spending that only in worshipping the devas. Yeah. So, Vyashema devahitam yadayuhu. Swastina Indro Vruddhashravaha. Indra, we all know, the lord of king of the gods is Indra. Indra who is there. And in those times, Indra is supposed, we don't have Rama, Krishna in terms of Vedas. In times of Veda, the gods are all Indra, Varuna, Agni, These are the gods they used to pray to. So here we are talking about that let the Swasti means blessings. Let that Indra bless us. When we are taking this particular class, let him bless us. Vruddhashravaha, ancient and famous fellow. Vruddha means normally we take as an old man, but here it is ancient. Means that Indra, who is the ancient one, let that particular Indra bless us, is what is being told here. Yeah. Swastina Pusha. Pusha is the sun. Pusha actually means one who nourishes. One who nourishes the earth, one who nourishes means energy provider for the earth, and every jiva on the earth is sun. So he becomes a Pusha. Pusha means one nourisher. That is what he said. Vishwavedaha, that all-knowing one. Swastina Traksha. Traksha means normally this Garuda bird is there, is Traksha. It is referred to as Traksha. Means basically what we are telling is when we are going into the flight of this Vedantic knowledge, let that Garuda bless us in terms of getting the right type of knowledge. Garuda is supposed to be a killer of all the snakes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Garuda, when he is going, all snakes are worried. Yeah, they say that snake is nothing but the negativities in you. Mm-hmm. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Mascharya are the snakes, and let this Garuda take away all these negativities and let that particular blessings come from that person as well. Yeah, and Arishtanemihi. Arishtanemi is it is the again one who protects us from the harm becomes a Arishtanemi. Arishta means actually harm. Arishtanemihi, one who protects us from the any harm, becomes a Arishtanemi. So this celestial bird is supposed to be doing that. That Garuda is the Arishtanemi. He actually takes out all the obstacles that we are having in terms of learning. Let us go over that particular this one. And blessings from Brihaspati. Brihaspati is supposed to be the spiritual wealth protector, and he becomes the guru of all the devas. So Indra, Varuna, everybody, Brihaspati is the guru of the all devas. Sukracharya is the guru of all the Rakshasas, Asuras. Shukracharya. Brihaspati is the guru of all the devas. So let the blessings of Brihaspati be there on us as a protector of the wealth. What wealth? Spiritual wealth. Because he is the guru of devas, he is a spiritual wealth protector. So what it means is, whatever we are learning, let it not dissipate. Not that I attend the class, go back and forget about this. Let that be protected by the Brihaspati.
What I find is the more you learn, the what you learned in the beginning is forgotten. You remember all the...
Correct, others will be there. Let this Brihaspati give us. Dadatu means give us. Give us that ability to remember, ability to retain is what is being told in this particular this one. So, Bhadram Karnebhi Shrunyama Devaha, whatever I hear, let it be auspicious. Bhadram Pashye Makshabhirya Jatraha, whatever I see, let it be auspicious and let it be good one that is there. Sthirai Angaihi Tushtuvagam Swastanyubihi. Let me have a good body, good limbs, healthy limbs. Let my health be there for doing, offering back my prayers to you. I don't want health for the sake of health, but for doing prayers to you. Vyashema devahitam yadayuhu means yadayuhu, yada ayuhu. Ayu means age. Yeah, is age. Yadayuhu, long life. Let me have a long life and stirai angaihi, good health, for giving back to you in terms of doing worshipping. Worship in terms of, in Vedanta, worship is nothing but gaining the knowledge. So I have long life, I have good body for me to learn the language, knowledge from the Upanishad, let us say. So that is how it is being told. Swastina Indro Vruddhashavaha. That Indra, who is an ancient god, let him bless us. Swastina Pusha Vishwaveda. That son who is the giver of the knowledge, let him bless us by doing this one. Swastina Straksho Arishtanemihi. Let that Garuda bird remove all the obstacles from our learning that is there in terms of this. Swastina Bruhaspatir Dadatu. Let that Bruhaspati make me able to retain the knowledge that I am learning. This is what we are trying to read this as a Shanti Pat. Yeah? And it says Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurudev has told so many times what these three Shantis mean. Yeah? Anybody remembers them?
Shanti?
Three Shantis that we told. What the Shanti means actually peace from not having any obstacles. See, when will I have peace? If I take up an action and if there is an obstruction, my Shanti is gone. Yeah? So when I say Shanti, there are three types of obstacles that can be there as per normal our Shastras. Because Gurudev says, defines them as Adi Daivika, Adi Bhautika, Adhyatmika. Adi Daivika means if a earthquake comes, for example, or tsunami comes, beyond my control. Adi Daivika. So let there be no obstructions to our learning based on some Adi Daivika actions. So I don't have any control, but my class is getting disturbed. My mind is getting disturbed. So let that not be there. Adi Bhautika is from the other beings. So you are sitting for meditation in your room. Suddenly my son remembers that he has to eat and he puts a dosha in this one. Nice smell comes. My meditation is gone. Adi Bhautika. With other people around, there is a problem. Some children start playing and they make sounds. This one is getting disturbed. Class is getting disturbed. So none of that should happen is Adi Bhautika. Adhyatmika is more subtle. Means it is internal problems with you. Suddenly I get a doubt whether this particular knowledge is correct or whether I should go and sit in Dvaita class. Advaita is not making any sense. I will go and sit in the Dvaita class. Your entire whatever 10 years you have spent here is gone out of window. So that is more in terms of Adhyatmika, our own internal issues in terms of gaining this knowledge. So when three Shantis are told, Gurudev says, all three types of obstacles should not be there in our learning when we go ahead with this. Okay? So we will start with the first verse in the next class. Yeah? And we will start reading Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shruniyama Devaha as our opening prayer for this particular class.
When we next did that with Auntie, this Bhadram Karnebhi, she didn't tell us the meaning. She just taught us.
She just taught us as part of the opening prayer.
We'll close. We'll close and then go ahead. Yeah. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. So in the next class we will go through this wonderful Upanishad. It actually has got, I think, 6 questions that come. So 6 different